Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders speaking to an absolutely ecstatic crowd in St. Paul, Minnesota tonight. Now, until a moment ago, Senator Sanders appearing in anywhere in Minnesota on the night before Super Tuesday would have been basically a shiv to Democratic Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar is one of his competitors for the nomination. That said, Senator Klobuchar is one of the major candidates who dropped out of the race today, not only ending her own bid, but choosing to endorse former Vice President Joe Biden. We are keeping an eye right now on the simultaneous live rally that is happening in Dallas, Texas, where Senator Klobuchar is, we believe, going to appear with Vice President Biden in Dallas. So as we are watching both of these events happening simultaneously on Super Tuesday Eve, I want to bring into the conversation here somebody who is much smarter about these things than I am. Larry Sabato is the director of the University of Virginia Center for Politics, one of the great political forecasters of our time. I do not envy him his job in this circumstance. Dr. Sabato, it's good to have you here on a night like tonight. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it.
What do you think will be the impact, or how should we see the import of this big day that the Biden campaign has had today? Major candidates dropping out, both of them endorsing, former candidate Beto O'Rourke also endorsing. This coming out of Saturday's thumping, big outside the polls win in South Carolina. How do you see this?
It's very significant. You know, every campaign has pivot moments, Rachel. Every single campaign that I've ever observed. And this, whatever happens in the end, this will be recorded as one of the pivot moments of the 2020 Democratic race. It's going to be fascinating because it's a battle between paid media and free media. Joe Biden hasn't had much money, and he hasn't advertised much at all in the 14 states that are voting tomorrow, and yet he has dominated the free media, the news media coverage since Saturday when he had that blowout win in South Carolina. And these endorsements, it's almost not just for the people who back Klobuchar and Buttigieg. It's really for the broader Democratic Party to hear the points that they're making. So I think this is very significant. It does not guarantee Joe Biden the nomination. It doesn't guarantee him many wins tomorrow, though I think he will get some, particularly in the South. But he was given the last rites just, 10 days ago, 10 days, 2 weeks ago. He was given the last rites, and now Lazarus is in front of us.
Do you have a way to either extrapolate from past experience or any other data-based way that you can assess the prospects for Mayor Bloomberg? Obviously, he hasn't been on the ballot in any of the 4 states that have gone thus far. There were as many calls for him to get out of the race and consolidate the field, as many calls targeting him as there were calls targeting Mayor Buttigieg or Senator Klobuchar. He obviously has come to a different decision, has said that he's going to stay in through tomorrow because he's been spending all this money, because this is going to be the first place where he competes. Do you have any way of figuring out how to sort of quantify his likelihood of success and how he ought to have looked at those calls for him to get out before tomorrow's balloting?
Well, the problem is all the polls that we have, and we've had a slew of them before, even Sunday and a few today, they were all taken, or they were all in the field before South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Now, at that time, Bloomberg was doing reasonably well in some states. He at least was near or a little bit over the 15% threshold that you need to get some delegates statewide or in some congressional districts. I wonder if that's still true. Because when you have events as dramatic as what we've seen in the last several days, somebody who's outside the system, which Bloomberg is in the Democratic Party, who is being resisted by some of the key constituencies of the Democratic Party, I don't think all the money in the world could really overcome this. If we suddenly had all the networks turn into Bloomberg TV, I don't think that would necessarily do it. These are activists voting. The Democrats who are voting, by and large, know what they're doing. They've been thinking about this for a long time. They've been waiting for a moment that will crystallize what they have to do, the decision they have to make. Well, they've had it. And a lot of people are making that decision. It's going to be muted tomorrow because of all the early votes, some of them very early votes, including undoubtedly hundreds of thousands for candidates that have withdrawn. You see, those, I understand why early voting is used, Rachel, but the problem is it's like writing a review of a play at intermission. You're missing a lot of the play, and the second half may change your mind. And sure enough, they've missed a lot of the play, but their votes are locked in.